Apartheid didn't end. It evolved to accommodate the same people in different ways. Ooh, interesting. Every time I read something like this and exception like this, I just wanna, you know, I just wanna absorb the information and see what is like.
Right, South Africa is still one of the most divided nations on earth. Whether we talk about financially or culturally or opinionated or whatever.
I would say culturally, I feel like we made a lot of progress. That's just my opinion. Judging on the videos that we see on social media, I feel like culturally, we've made so much progress, way better than most countries. You know what I mean? Especially where it's just like apartheid just ended like 30 years ago. You know what I mean? I feel like culturally we made a lot of progress. Financially, I also think so. Controversial take. I think we did. I think we did. You know what I mean? We could be doing better, of course. You know, as people, we're always gonna want more. But I feel like, especially if I just look at black people, I think black people, if you compare the lives of black people in the 90s and to now in the 2020s, I feel like a lot of black people have made progress. Like a lot of black people have made progress. Could be more, should be more making progress. Of course, we're never gonna deny that. There's still a lot of people living in poverty, including me. Hello, you know what I mean? But I'm able to realize when I see other black people do well in society, living in there's been a lot of black people moving from the lower class, from being poor to the middle class. I feel like the middle class of black people, it's growing. You know what I mean? Is it certain that it's gonna continue growing? We don't know. You know what I mean? But I feel like compared from apartheid to now, I feel like the middle class of black people has really like worked really hard to get up there. But let me just finish.
We're divided. We can't stand together on the most basic of things.
Like
that's why I advocate for land redistribution and restitution and so forth, because I believe that when we empower people who's been previously disadvantaged, we are empowering ourselves. So when I empower my black brothers and sisters and we help lift them out of poverty, you create a space where they can compete in the economy the same way you do, and that's good for the economy. So why, advocate for keeping wealth in the hands of whites? And because let me say this very clearly, apartheid never ended. It evolved. It transformed into something more, like you said earlier. It's not the white minority government anymore, but it's the banks. Banks own your house. This sector of the government does this, and you're not allowed to do this. So, apartheid didn't end. It evolved to accommodate the same people, just in different ways.
I feel like he could have explained it more. I feel like that was going to be an interesting angle that he could have explained, but I don't think he explained really good. Or maybe this is just a clip where it's out of context. But I kind of get it. But my idea goes back to like the counterpart that why I disagree with him is that South Africa hasn't much evolved when it comes to culturally and financially. I disagree with that based on examples that I gave. You know what I mean? As much as I don't feel like I've made progress, I've made it to the middle class, or I'm still living in poverty, you know what I mean? I still see other black people doing well, running businesses, in the middle class, taking their kids to school, to expensive, what do they call it? Expensive schools? There's a word for it. Whatever that word is, there's a lot of black people doing that. There's a lot of black people now living in estates, there's a lot of black people living in like really nice places, yeah. And if you compare that with like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it was a complete different world. You know what I mean? Black people were only known to be living in townships or rural areas, but now black people have so I would hate to disagree with that, but could you say there's more could have been done, or could have more that could be done, or are we certain that it's gonna continue going this way? We don't know. But I don't know about that part, I don't know about that part. That is why I'm a huge supporter of the ANC. As much as hate it, as much as how corrupted it is, I'd rather deal with the devil that I know than deal with the devil that I don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like, let me keep quiet. As much as, the ANC is not, it wasn't started as a political party, it started as a freedom fighter, you know what I mean? At least the history that I understand, you know what I mean? So the much of progress they did with like the blacks, black people in general, you know, especially because let's be honest, this is what the black people are just look at like the basic resources in South Africa, you know what I mean? The basics when it comes to water, electricity, and health, you know, and health. I feel like the ANC did fantastic work when it comes to that. As much they were not trained to do so, but I think they did a fantastic work. But that I feel like I should find someone who can like, you know, debate with on this topic. They can show me a different perspective. Maybe I'm just shallow. I don't even know if that's the right term to use.